We can turn it off now, the TV. यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलम् ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम ॐ जय राम ॐ। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Hari Om. We were in the prasanga where Bhagwan has come back to Ayodhya, and what all things happen in Dashrath Maharaj's palace. That description Goswamiji is doing. One thing to appreciate in and through this entire prasanga of Bhagwan's Vivaha, and now whatever is happening in Ayodhya, is Goswamiji is pointing out different qualities, different virtues of the people in Ayodhya. Like how in Mithila, Goswamiji pointed out the nature of Janak Maharaj and all other people. So now he is pointing out of Dashrath Maharaj. We say we belong to Sanatana Dharma. That word you have heard, right? Sanatana Dharma. Now what is Dharma? That which integrates is Dharma. Okay? That thing which integrates. There are different meanings of Dharma, but this is a very simple meaning. Whatever conduct integrates our personality, whatever conduct integrates the people with whom we live, whatever conduct integrates a nation, you apply it at whichever level. That which integrates, that is Dharma. Now, why is the word Sanatana added before that? They could have said that this is our Dharma. Why say the word Sanatana? What does Sanatana mean? That which is eternal. Sanatana Dharma means that Dharma which is eternal. So Puja Guruji, he gave a very beautiful definition of Dharma. He said eternal values of life, they are called as Dharma. Why do we say it is eternal? Because it is inherent to every human being. Whether they belong to a particular dharma or not, what we otherwise call as religion, inherently values is something which is there in every human being. Or in other words, even without too much of teaching or preaching or anything, humans inherently revere values. We might not be able to live up to them. That is a different story, right? We revere those values, but what makes us not live up to them is our vasanas, right? You take any value for that matter, it is revered by most likely everybody, right? You take Satyam, truthfulness for that matter, you will hardly find somebody who says telling a lie, is a good thing, or that is the way we should live. Guruji, while explaining, he said, even if there is a thief or a dacoit, he might tell a lie to other people, but he wants his assistants to be truthful. So values is something nobody can live without it. You take the value of ahimsa or prema, for that matter. Now, himsa is something which is not natural to us, right? Prema is something which is natural to us. This is what Naradji helped Valmiki ji realize. Valmiki ji, we all know, was Ratnakara before it. What he made him realize is this, that this himsa that you are doing for others, people who pass from this forest, this is not your natural swabhava. Your natural swabhava is prema. For that, he gave that question to him. He said, go and ask your family whether they will share your sins or not. Right? You take kshama, compassion for that matter. All of us expect others to be compassionate. The point here is, reverence is always there for values. Now, situations might come in several other ways where we are pushed to compromise on values. Those who are strong in those situations, those who don't compromise on values at any cost, they are the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila. That is the thing Goswamiji is bringing out. And whoever has these qualities of dharma, that is their true beauty. You see, whatever qualities we discussed, right, just now, satyam, truthfulness, prema, love, kshama, compassion, not holding on to things for too long. All these qualities you find in a child. And that small child, without speaking too much, can delight us. Right? So wherever these qualities are there, it brings a very different beauty. Now, why are we discussing all these things? Because Ramcharitmanas is a text of devotion. What devotion does is it will help us go away from the control of vasanas and keep our mind in this dharma. It will help us live by those values. It will help us live by those convictions which we revere, but we are unable to live up to it sometimes. That is the whole part of devotion. Devotion is not only a practice. Devotion is not an external act which is done. It is helpful. The external act is helpful. But if you read 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, how does Bhagavan define a devotee? Starts from Adveshta Sarva Bhutana. My devotee is the one who doesn't have any dvesha towards anybody. From there he starts. And then different values only he mentions. One who doesn't get agitated by others, and one who doesn't agitate others. Right? So in and through that, bhakti brings dharma, and that dharma brings sukham. Okay. So this point, Goswamiji is now elaborating in and through the personality of different people in Ayodhya. So now you will see another such virtue of Dashrath Maharaj, his reverence for Brahmanas. His reverence for Brahmanas, that Goswamiji will elaborate right now. Now, what does Dashrath Maharaj represent? He is a king. Right? He has a lot of power, lot of wealth. And on the other hand, he has Brahmanas such as Vishwamitra Rishi, Vasishtha Rishi is there. They have knowledge. So wealth and power bowing down to knowledge. Rajoguna, which you need for power and wealth. That Rajoguna is in the check of Sattvaguna. Sattva-guna symbolized by knowledge, that Rajoguna will not bind him. Otherwise, what does power do to us? Power says, I am such and such person. Right? And that too, being a king, so much of aham bhava he will have. I am such and such person. And what does wealth or resources do? It gives mama bhava. In these, all the resources are mine. And what is the reality? I am not a ruler, I am Brahma. Right? I am that infinite consciousness, Ananda Swarupa. These things don't belong to me. Everything is of this creation only. Right? So somebody who is having this kind of bhava towards knowledge, in spite of being amidst all these things, they are not affected by it. That is our Dashrath Maharaj. You see now how he is taking care of every person after the wedding is done. Okay, just now, before we had paused in the last session, we had seen that he calls all the musicians, everybody, and then gives them something or the other to recognize their contribution. So now he is calling all Brahmanas. That portion we will see from 351st Doha, after that, after 351. Jo Basishta Anusasana Dini. जो वशिष्ठ अनुशासन दीन्हि लोक वेद विधि सादर कीन्हि भूसुर भीर देखि सब रानी सादर उठी भाग्य बढ़ जानी पाय पखारी सकल अनहवाए पूजी भली विधि भूप जेवाए आदर दान प्रेम परिपोषे देत असीस चले मन तोषे बहुविधि कीन्हि गाधि सुत पूजा नाथ मोहि समधन्य न दूजा कीन्हि प्रशंसा भूपति भूरि रानी न सहित लीन्हि पग धूरि भीतर भवन दीन बरबासु मन जोगवतरह नृपुर निवासु पूजे गुर पद कमल बहोरी किन्हि विनय उर प्रीति न थोरी बधुन समेत कुमार सब रानी न सहित महीसु पुनि पुनि बंदत गुर चरण देत असीस मुनीसु विनय कीन्ह उर अति अनुरागे सुत संपदा राखि सब आगे नेगु मागी मुनि नायक लीन्हा आसिर बादु बहुत विधि दीन्हा उरधरि राम ही सीय समेता हर्षि कीन्ह गुर गवनु निकेता विप्रवधू सब भूप बोलाई चैल चारु भूषण पहिराई बहुरी बोलाई सुवासिनी लीन्हि रुचि विचारि पहिरावनि दीन्हि नेगी नेग जोग सब लेहि रुचि अनुरूप भूप मनि देहि प्रिय पाहुने पूज्य जे जाने भूपति भली भांति सनमाने देव देखि रघुबीर विबाहो बरषि प्रसून प्रशंसी उछाहो चले निशान बजाई सुर निज निज पुर सुख पाई कहत परस्पर राम जसु प्रेमन हृदय समाई सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। जो वशिष्ठ अनुशासन दीन्हि लोक वेद विधि सादर कीन्हि. Whatever Vasishtha Maharshi, he told Dashrath Maharaj to do, Loka and Veda means all family traditions and other Vedic rituals, everything Dashrath Maharaj did with lot of faith. No cutting corners anywhere. not telling Vasishtha Rishi to be very fast, in doing anything. He said, take your time. Let us do it with lot of Shraddha. Bhusura bhira de ke sabarani, sadara uthi bhagya bade jani. Now you see, Goswamiji is pointing out everybody's Shraddha, how everybody thinks. All the queens who are there, they saw a lot of Brahmanas gather in the palace. And just looking at all the Brahmanas gather, the queens think that now our bhagya, it's such a good fortune that all these Brahmanas have come to our palace. Paya pakhari sakala anavaye puji bhali vidhi bhupajevaye. All of them come, give a lot of reverence to all these Brahmanas, and then do their satkara, do their pujanam, revere all of them. Adara dana prema pariposhe. They make them content. They themselves are content, and they make all their guests content. How? By giving them respect, adara, dana, by giving whatever they require, and prema, giving it with love. Adara dana prema pariposhe, deta asisa, chale mana toshe. They gave all these things. What did they receive back? They received their blessings and their well wishes. Now, this entire portion, Dashrath Maharaj and the queens, they are showing that Brahmanas, their blessing is amogha. Amogha means it will definitely give results. Bahubidhi kina gadi sutta puja nata mohi samadhanya na duja. Now, all Brahmanas, they worshipped, but to Vishwamitra Rishi, there was a special puja done. Because he has also done many special things for them. Right? So many things he accomplished for Dashrath Maharaj and all the queens. So Vishwamitra Rishi, they do a special puja to them, puja to him. Keenhi prasamsa bhupati bhuri, ranina sahita, lini pagadhuri. What does a queen do? They take the dust off Vishwamitra Rishi's feet and put it on their head. Such a great Rishi. That is their bhava towards Vishwamitra Rishi. Now, Dashrath Maharaj is taking Vishwamitra Rishi to his residence. Where is he making him stay? Not outside, in his own palace. He has given a very special place inside. He says, I am here available at your service. You see what Goswamiji writes. Bhitara bhavana. Not somewhere else, He took care of both his sons for so long, just like a father. He says, Bhitara bhavan dina parabasu, mana jogavataraha, nrupu rani vasu. Means whatever things Vishwamitra Rishi needs, all those things, Dashrath Maharaj says, I am here to serve. And then Vasishtha Rishi, also he does his pujanam. Puje gurapada kamala bahori, kini binaya, ura priti nathori. His guidance also, starting from the time when Vishwamitra Rishi came and Dashrath Maharaj was not ready to send Bhagwan Rama. He remembers all his guidance, all his teachings. Now the entire family bows down. First, Dashrath Maharaj bowed down. Now entire family bows down in front of Vasishtha Maharshi. Baduna sameta kumara sabha ranina sahita mahisu. Dashrath Maharaj, queens, and all the sons, along with their wives. Now it's a bigger family, right? 8 plus 2 plus several others in Dashrath Maharaj's family. All of them together, they bow down to Vasishtha Maharshi. Means we can even picturize, how that entire scene must have been. So much of beauty, so much of purity. That Shraddha Dashrath Maharaj had in Vasishtha Maharshi. Now you see what he is doing. Binaya kina ura ati anurage, suta sampada raki sabha age. Now he has to give some Guru Dakshina, right, to Vasishtha Maharshi. What does he give? His sons and all his wealth. His 4 sons he keeps in front of Vasishtha Maharshi, and all his wealth. Suta sampada. Suta means son. Sampada means all different types of wealth. You know why he keeps that? Because he remembers before he had refused to give his son. Rama deta nahi, banata gosai. You ask whatever you want, he had said, and Vasishtha Maharshi had given him this teaching. Now he's telling him that I've understood that if you follow the words of your teacher, everything is, good in life. Negu magi muni nayaka linha asira badu bahuta bidi dinha. Now you see the heart of Vasishtha Maharshi. Because the king has kept all the wealth in front, he doesn't take everything and go home. Negi magi muni nayaka dinha. Muni nayaka linha. Only that portion which he deserved as a priest. Negi magi means that. Negu magi means whatever portion he was due as a priest of the family, only that much he took. Rest everything he gave back. And with lot of joy, he went giving his blessings to Dashrath Maharaj and his entire family. Means what should be the bhava, of giver, and what should be the bhava of receiver. Giver should give with heart open, but that doesn't mean receiver should take everything which is given. Vasishtha Maharshi takes only that portion, and there was a calculation also. There are commentators who have written so much elaborate commentary on this. Like if it's a priest, then in a wedding, this much portion is reserved for them. So like all different prasangas are there. So how much ever was due, only that much Vasishtha Maharshi took. And then he returns home, keeping Sitaji and Bhagwan Rama in his heart. Although they were given a lot of wealth and other things, but contentment, that came from Bhagwan Rama and Sitaji. Now Dashrath Maharaj calls all Brahmana Patnis. First it was Brahmanas, now Brahmana Patnis. Bipra Badhu Saba Bhupa Bulai, Chaila Charu Bhushana Pahirai. And gives them a lot of different jewelries and clothes and everything, whatever they would need, all those things he gives them. And everybody else, all Suhaganis were there, all other people, he calls everybody according to their taste, what they would like. According to that, he gives them dana. Different gifts, different things, makes everybody happy. Now all other guests are there. Priya Pahune Pujaje Jane Bhupati Bhali Bhati Sanamani. Acknowledges everybody, and whatever they would like, gives everything to different guests who had come. He's not just done with the wedding portion done. He's not just completing the event right there, but making sure that each and everybody who contributed is recognized. Devatas, they feel so happy looking at Dashrath Maharaj and all the joy over here. Deva deke ragu bira bibahu, barashi prasuna prasamsi uchahu. They are so happy and delighted looking at even such a king is possible to have, who has lived his life so well, but the main result is he is so happy. For somebody to be an ambassador of Sanatan Dharma, to be an inspiration for Sanatan Dharma, the main ingredient is people should see them cheerful. People should see them happy. That itself becomes an inspiration for others to live such a life. If somebody says, I'm an honest person, but I don't know in today's world whether honesty works or not. Or he says, I have not made progress in life because I'm honest. Without doing anything, so many people would get uninspired to live a life of dharma. On the other hand, if somebody is like Dashrath Maharaj, who is so happy, but somebody would ask, why is he so happy? Why is so much of happiness coming to this king, they would say, look at his other things. Look at his Shraddha, look at his Danam, look at his all other virtues. Right? So Dashrath Maharaj is showing how an ambassador of Sanatana Dharma should be. Okay. Let us see the next two chaupais after 353. सब विधि सब ही समधि नर नाहु, रहा हृदय भरी पूरी उछाहु। जहर निवासु तहाँ पगुधारे, सहित बटु बहुटिन्ह कुंवर निहारे। लिए गोद करि मोद समेता, को कहि सकई भयउ सुख जेता। बधु सप्रेम गोद बैठारे, बार बार ही हर्षि दुलारी। देखी समाज मुदित रनिवासु, सबके उर आनंद कियो बासु। कहेउ भूप जिमि भयउ विबाहु, सुनि सुनि हर्षु होत सब काहु। जनक राज गुण सीलो बड़ाई, प्रीति रीति संपदा सुहाई। बहुविधि भूप भाट जिमि बरनी, रानी सब प्रमुदित सुनि करनी। सुतन समेत नहाई नृप, बोले विप्र गुर ज्ञाति। भोजन कीन्ह अनेक विधि, धरि पंच गई राति। मंगल गान करहि बर भामिनी, भय सुख मूल मनोहर जामिनी। अंचई पान सब काहू पाए, सृग सुगंध भूषित छवि छाये। राम ही देखि रजाय सुपाए, निज निज भवन चले सिरनाई। प्रेम प्रमोद विनोद बढ़ाए, समउ समाजु मनोहरताये। कहि न सकहि सत सारद सेसु, वेद बिरंचि महेश गणेशु। सो मैं कहूँ कवन विधि बरनी, भूमि नागु सिर धरई की धरनी। नृप सब भांति सब ही सनमानी, कहि मृदु बचन बोलाई रानी। बधुलर कनी पर घर आई, राखेहु नयन पलक की नाई। लरिका श्रमित उनीद बस, शयन करावहु जाई। अस कहिगे विश्राम गृह, राम चरण चितुलाई। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Now after Dashrath Maharaj is done with all his giving duty, different people he calls, gives away several things. Now he is feeling content. Sab vidhi sabhi samadhi nara nahu, raha hrudaya bhari puri uchahu. Now he is feeling that finally everything is done, and now he goes to his palace to meet his sons. And he's so happy seeing all of them together, embraces everyone. And then he calls, whoever was there, all queens might be there, other people who are there in the palace. And then he starts narrating what all things happened in Mithila Nagari. In particular, he starts telling about Janak Maharaj's greatness. You see the chaupai after 353, the third chaupai. Kahehu bhupa jimi bhayahu vibahu, suni harashu hota saba kahu. Everybody is delighted listening to the same narration of what all things happened in Mithila Nagari. Means whenever we tell something to somebody, it means we want to, share our joy, whatever things, happened over there. So they feel, Dashrath Maharaj is narrating everything. But what does he narrate? Janaka Raja Guna Silu Badai Priti Riti Sampada Suhai. He's telling about how much of prosperity was there in Mithila Nagari. And Janak Maharaj, in spite of being so prosperous, what was his swabhava? When he folded his hands and asked for forgiveness towards the very end, because he said, we made a mistake by calling all of you here. Actually, we should have come there. And other Atithya, all the hospitality Janak Maharaj provided, everything Dashrath Maharaj is narrating. Another reason why he is narrating this, Sita ji and her sisters are over there. Means if somebody has come to a new house and then you are praising her father, so she will feel at home. She is feeling that this is also my house, to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel welcomed. Janak Maharaj, his greatness, Dashrath Maharaj is narrating. And Goswamiji said, it looked as though a bard was singing a praise. Like how there are bards, right, in the king's palace. They will sing different praises of the king. Like that, Dashrath Maharaj became. And he is singing the praises of Janak Maharaj. Now, a little bit of details are given. What did they do after that? He said this was evening time, so all of them showered. Sutana Sameta Nahai Nrupa, Boli Vipra Guru Gyati. And they called, all different Brahmanas, Gurujanas who were there, and other people. And Dashrath Maharaj organized a lavish feast for everybody in the evening. And Goswamiji says, after they were done with the food, in and through that, there was different songs that were sung and everything. He says they ate pan. Anchai pan saba kahu paye. You see the first chaupai after 354. Anchai pan saba kahu paye srag sugandha bhushita chabi chaye. And there was different kinds of perfumes and all other bhogas were there. This is just to show that even their bhoga is according to dharma. Appropriate time by the right person. You will not find this line written for Vasishtha Maharshi and Vishwamitra Rishi. They are in their dharma. Their guidance is taken whenever Dashrath Maharaj needs. But he is having his own dharma, right? He is a king. He has to make everybody happy. But in and through that, mind is always on Bhagavan. Even in and through that, bhoga. Bhoga under the light of yoga. That is their philosophy. Not getting swayed by any experience. Now you see the next line. How does everybody go home? Rama dekhi rajayasu pai. After all this bhoga, they again look at Bhagwan Rama, and only when they get his permission, Nija Nija Bhavana Chale Siranai, they go to their own homes, keeping Bhagwan Rama in their heart. Prema Pramodu Binodu Badai, Samu Samaju Manoharatai. Goswamiji says, all these things which were there was indescribable. The mutual reverence, mutual respect, the love which was there. Prema, Pramoda, Binoda, and some fun was also there. Although he has not described many of these things, he leaves it open-ended. If you want to do a play or a skit, that part you can add from your own side. So Binoda is also said, right? Prema, Pramoda, Binoda Badai, Samo Samaju Manoharatai. Everybody's mind was so delighted in that Ananda. But we should remember, this always has to be tied with values. Sanatan Dharma Ananda is not just distracting the mind. We also can experience Ananda if mind just gets distracted from whatever thing is bothering us. Right? Go to some place or, weekend, go to some place to de-stress. Right? You know what all places are there. So somebody can experience Ananda taking their mind away from a stressful day, stressful work. If that Ananda was this one, what is the difference then? Right? Ramayana's Ananda and Vishayananda. This Ananda is with values, and under that light, all other bhogas, whatever has to be done, that is done. Okay. Now Goswamiji says, if I try to describe the Ananda over there, it is just like an earthworm taking the load of this entire earth. Bhumi nagu sira dharai ki dharani. Can an earthworm take the load of the entire earth? Just like that thing is impossible, like that it is impossible to describe the joy in Dashrath Maharaj's palace. Only Goswamiji can come up with these examples. Look at the precision of how much he brings out that emotion. Now Dashrath Maharaj, he calls all his queens and he says, your daughter-in-laws, they have come from Janak Maharaj's palace, but you should remember they have come to a different house. And all of them are very young. Badhu Larakini, Larakini means very young. Para Ghara Ai, this is fourth Chaupai after 354. Badhu Larakani means they are very young and they have come to a different house. So please make sure that you take very good care of them. How should you take care of them? Rakhev Nayana Palaka ki nai. Just like eyelids, they take care of the eyes, like that you should take care of Sitaji and her sisters. Means anything that is bothering them, you should be mindful, you should be alert to go and ask. Right? Just like even a small dust goes inside, eyelids are ever ready, they start fluttering very quickly and they will make sure that that thing is gone. And intermittently, even without a dust, it keeps blinking. This is like that, you should make sure that they are feeling welcomed over here and they are taken care of, not bothered by anything. Because Paraghara, they will hesitate. Paraghara means somebody else's house. They will hesitate to say, but it is your duty to go and ask them. Larika Shramita Unida Basa Sayana Karam Hojai. He says, all your sons, they are tired and they are sleepy. He says, go and put them to sleep. He tells the queens, put all your sons to sleep. Now Goswamiji, every prasanga, he brings out something very beautiful. Now he's just describing how the queens put the sons to sleep. Okay, you see how much arrangement they do. 355 after that. Bhupa bachana suni sahaja suhaye jarita kanaka mani palanga dasaye subhaga surabhipaya phena samana komala kalita supeti nana upabarahana barabara na jahi sraga sugandha mani mandira mahi रतन दीप सुठी चारु चदोवा कहतन बनई जान जेहि जोवा सेज रुचिर रुचिराम उठाए प्रेम समेत पलंग पढ़ाए अज्ञा पुनि पुनि भाई न दीन्हि निज निज सेज सयन तिन्ह कीन्हि देखि श्याम मृदु मंजुल गाता कहीं सप्रेम बचन सब माता मार्ग जात भयावनी भारी के विधितात ताड़का मारी घोर निशाचर विकट भट समरग नहीं काहू मारे सहित सहाय किमी खल मारी च सुबाहु मुनि प्रसाद बलितात तुम्हारी ईस अनेक करवरे ठारी मखर खवारी करी दूहु भाई गुरु प्रसाद सब विद्या पाई मुनि तियतरी लगत पग धूरी कीरति रही भुवन भरी पूरी कमठ पीठी पविकूट कठोरा नृप समाज महु शिव धनु तोरा विश्व विजय जसु जानकी पाई आए भवन ब्याहि सब भाई सकल अमानुष कर्म तुम्हारे केवल कौशिक कृपा सुधारे आजु सुफल जग जन मुह मारा देखी तात विधु बदन तुम्हारा जे दिन गए तुम ही बिनु देखे ते बिरंचि जनि पार ही लेखे राम प्रतोषी मातु सब कहि बिनीत बर बैन सुमिरी शंभुर विप्रपद किए नीत बसनैन सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Kausalya ji and all queens are getting the bed ready for Bhagwan Rama and his brothers. भूप बचन सुनि सहज सुहाये जरित कनक मणि पलंग डसाये. Bed is also made up of gems. Now that bed, Kausalya ji and all other mothers, they are getting it ready. In those days, Goswami ji is writing about different comforters and different materials which are used, mattresses. What was a mattress? Subhaga Surabhi Paya Phena Samana Komala Kalita Supeti Nana. It was so pure, so soft, and so tender, just like the foam of a milk. How pure and white and tender that would be. Like that was this mattress which was put on this bed. You know why Goswamiji is writing so much in detail over here? Later on, when Nishad Raj, he sees Bhagwan Rama and Sita ji sleeping on the floor. Nishad Raj makes the bed with leaves. Bhagwan says, I'm in Vanvasa right now. He says, I want to make bed for Bhagwan. He says, bring leaves and make it. And it is said, Nishad Raj used to come to Ayodhya. He had seen what is Bhagwan's Aishwarya, what kind of comfort he is used to, and over here in Vanvasa, how he is sleeping. With that, a very different, bhava, it comes in his heart. Then he goes to Lakshmanji and asks this question. Why did Bhagwan have to do all this? And as a result of that, he gets Lakshman Gita. That is the prasanga later. But this portion he quotes there. He says, Bhagwan, I know what is his glory. He is a prince. So Goswamiji over here is just describing what all things Kausalya ji did to get his bed ready. Upabarahana, bara baranina jahi. You know what is upabarahana? Pillow. Upabarha in Sanskrit, upabarha, upabarahanam means a pillow. In Sanskrit, every word is made with a root, and etymology and everything. Means that on which the head rests and it pushes it down, that is called a pillow. Upabarha. So upasarga is also there. Barha, dhatu is there. And they decorate it with all other beautiful things, different perfumes, everything they arrange in that place. Ratana Deepa Suti Charu Chadave Kahatana Banai Jana Jihi Jova. Charu Chadova Kahatana Banai Jana Jihi Jova. Means even the gems and everything, they were having diffused lighting. Ratna Deepa means that. Ratna means a gem, Deepa means light. So putting it in such a way that you can only see the light, you cannot see the gem. This part earlier also we had seen. In Mahabharata also it comes in the palace that Maya he creates, Maya Sabha. In Indraprastha, he creates one beautiful palace for Yudhishthir Maharaj and everybody. That is where Duryodhana sleeps. You know that palace, right? So one of the things written there is, with gems he was able to light up that entire palace, and without you knowing where that gem is hidden. So like that, all this arrangement is done inside Bhagwan's, in that palace. Saje ruchira ruchi Rama uthaye prema sameta palanga podhaye. Now Kausalya ji brings Bhagwan Rama and makes him sleep on that palanga, which they have specially made with so much of love for Bhagwan. Now all mothers are sitting and Bhagwan alone is sleeping on that, palanga. And suddenly they remember so many things of what all things he did along with Vishwamitra Rishi. So one by one, they start recollecting. But there is a very important message over here. The way that Kausalya ji and other mothers, they speak to Bhagwan. They remind him of all the great things that Bhagwan did. But they say, all of this was possible because of Vishwamitra Rishi's grace, not on your own strength. Now, this is a Leela. Huh? Bhagwan, with his strength only, everything is possible. But they are doing Leela of how a mother should be, or how a parent should be. Child's attachment is there. For child, there might be different bhava. And whatever the child does, parents feel very proud. Like whatever Bhagwan Rama is doing, Kausalya ji inside says, he is my son. He went and killed Tadaka. He went and dust of his feet made Ahilya ji get Uddhara. But in and through that she says, this is not your greatness. This is your Guru's greatness. Because of his grace, you achieved all these things. Means, what is the message over here? Acknowledging somebody's greatness is needed, right? Because you need to encourage them, give them this confidence that whatever they are doing is the right thing, they are on the right path. But if it comes with some kind of high evaluation about themselves, means what we say as pride, right? Means if in their eyes, they start rating them on a scale of 0 to 10, that I am 9.5. And let us say for some reason, some experience comes from the world where that rating is at 3.5. So instead of world giving that experience, Kausalya ji is already training that in your eyes, rate yourself at 0. Whatever accomplishment has come, it has come because of Guru's grace. So if a person doesn't have a very high opinion to begin with, that person can never get disappointed. Right? Not at the cost of competence. Because she is praising that I know that you are great. Later she will say, Sakala amanusha karma tumhare. Whatever you did, it is not humanly act. Means it cannot be done by a human being. It is very divine. I know that you are not an ordinary person. Kevala kausika krupa sudhare. But this was possible only because of Vishwamitra Rishi's grace. That is a message over here. Recognizing somebody's skill, recognizing somebody's talent, but reminding them that this is possible because of Bhagwan's grace. After 356, you see, Muni prasada bali tat tumhari is aneka karavare tari. He says, all those things you have done. What all things you did? Just before that, she says, how did you finish this Tadaka? Means you are so young. You look so gentle. And Tadaka was such a great Rakshasi. How did you finish her? Maricha Subahu, how did you finish? Now she says, it is all because of Bhagwan's grace. He made sure that these obstacles were removed from your path. Isa aneka karavare tari. Different obstacles Bhagwan removed. And Muni prasada bali tat tumhari. Your strength is your teacher's blessings. Muni prasada. And you saved his yajna. That thing you accomplished. Munitiya tari lagata pagadhuri kirati rahi bhuvana bhari puri. Munitiya means Ahilya ji. Ahilya ji got uddhara by dust of your feet. And then the Shiva Dhanush which was there, it was harder than the shell of a turtle. Kamata pithi pabikuta kathora. It was just like a thunderbolt, harder than the shell of a turtle. And it was like a mountain, so heavy, impossible, even Ravana could not lift it. Sahasrabahu came, he also could not move it, but you just broke it so effortlessly. O Rama, this is the grace of your teacher Vishwamitra Rishi and Bhagwan. To Bhagwan, Kausalya is telling this thing. Biswa Bijay Jasu Janaki Pai Aye Bhavana Vyahi Sabha Bhai. And this Swayamvara, everything you accomplished, all this was Bhagwan's grace. Then she says this line, Sakala Amanusha Karma Tumhare Kevala Kausika Krupa Sudhare. All your deeds, whatever you do, it doesn't look like any ordinary human being. It's very great, but remember that it is your teacher. Then she says, seeing you, our life is fulfilled. Aaj safala jaga janamu hamara dekhi tat vidu badan tumhara. Looking at your face, our life is fulfilled. And whatever the number of years that you were away from us, whenever Vishwamitra Rishi took you away, that time, let it be not counted from our life. Je dina gaye tumahi binu dekhe, te biranchi jani parahi lekhe. I mean, this is a subtle message for sadhana. Those number of years which we have spent without remembering Bhagwan, without starting on the path of sadhana, those years are as though not counted. There was one Mahatma Ji, they were celebrating his Jayanti, birthday. They asked him, Mahatma Ji, how old are you? He said 20 years. Elderly Mahatma Ji, with his stick and everything. I said, 20 years? Well, what to count those years before sadhana? I started walking this path, 20 years, that is my real age. That is this line, Je dina gaye tumahi binu dekhe, te biranchi jani parahi lekhe. Means Bhagwan may every day go in your remembrance. That alone gives meaning to life. Okay. Now Bhagwan's every lila is beautiful. Now they put him to sleep. After having all this conversation, now Bhagwan is going to sleep and they're asking him about how did you do this, how did you do that. So some Mahatma says Bhagwan wanted to go to sleep. That's why he acted as though he is feeling drowsy, and he is going to sleep now. But Bhagwan's swabhava is such, even while doing that, he gives joy. You see that 357th Doha. Rama pratoshi matu sabha kahi binita baraban. Means he spoke words which gave them a lot of joy and he gave them delight and then went to sleep. Otherwise, when we have to go to sleep and somebody is asking questions, right? It's not a good time. Either you feel irritated or you just don't want to answer at that time. But Bhagwan's swabhava is not like that. No matter who it is, even if he is, in a different mood, he will give them joy. Sumiri sambugura biprapada kiye needa basanaya. How does Bhagwan go to sleep? He remembers Lord Shiva. He remembers Guru and he remembers Brahmanas. And then slowly he goes to sleep. Let Bhagwan sleep today. Bhagwan cannot sleep. If he sleeps, pralaya happens. He is doing leela of going to sleep. We'll continue in the next session. One more session, we should be done with Bala Kanda. It's a very fulfilling journey to complete one Kanda. Most of the chaupais we saw, some of it bhavartha we saw, but the flow was staying true to the words of every chaupai. We have some important announcements. Please do stay back. We'll do our Nama Sankirtanam and then go into the announcement. अगणित गुण गण भूषण रामा आश्रित वत्सल जय जय रामा अयोध्यवासी सीता रामा आपद बांधव जय जय रामा दशरथ नंदन श्री रामा दशमुख मर्दन जय जय रामा कौसल्या सुखवर्धन रामा कामित फलदा जय जय रामा पाप विमोचन श्री रामा पट्टाभिरामा जय जय रामा जानकी वल्लभ सीतारामा जय रघुरामा जय सीतारामा वानर सेवित श्रीरामा वारिधि बंधन जय जय रामा हनुमत पूजित सीतारामा श्रीराम जय जय रामा रघुपति राघव राजा रामा पतित पावन सीतारामा श्रीराम जय जय रामा श्रीराम जय जय रामा सियावर रामचंद्र की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Geeta ji, you can go ahead.
Hari Om Sohamji, thank you. Hari Om everyone. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about something that you must have heard about for the past few weeks now. A few weeks ago, we announced that we will be having Om Run 2022 this year, live in person. It's not a virtual event. We're all, we will all have an opportunity to gather at Vasona Park in Los Gatos on April 24th. So this is just an appeal to all of you to register, to come and participate. This is the largest event for Chinmaya Mission San Jose. And, why would you want to miss this? I was just remembering last week when we had Shivaratri, there were people that I had not seen in the last 2.5 years. I mean, I've seen them on Zoom and whatnot, and, I could see their little faces and boxes like you're seeing me right now. But, it was nice to see the rest of the physical body, So this, and I'm sure this is an experience that we're all having now that things are opening up and, we're able to meet for more events and whatnot. So please do register. It takes all of 2 minutes. In fact, I just registered it just a little while ago. It literally takes 2 minutes of your time. I know that, we're getting ready to end the night and many of you are, probably getting ready for bed. But before you close your laptop today, I encourage you to log in to omrun.cmsj.org. Do register. It's an absolutely amazing event. And, I just want to say something about our small army of volunteers that put together this event. And they've been consistently doing this for the past, I think, 13 years. Of course, we didn't have Om Run for the past 2 years, but the same team that started back in 2009 in what was the church, the ashram that we have today used to be a very dilapidated old church. The congregation had left and it was in such a bad shape. But in a tiny little dingy little room, our Sanjay ji and Prasanna ji, came up with the concept of Om Run, of course, inspired by our Swami Bodhatmanji. And that event has consistently been growing year after year. And it's all because of all of you and your support. I think the event caters to over 2,000 people. And it continues to grow. So we hope that, you will come out in large numbers and show your support for all the team and for all of us. It's an amazing way to meet, great community event. Lots of fun. Of course, I think all the previous folks that have spoken about the great food. You don't want to miss that. Apart from all the, events, we have the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. These are all professionally timed, by the way, for the past few years. So it's the real deal. So don't miss out. It's Sunday, April 24th. The Om Run team has specifically picked these dates in the later, half of spring, so that you can, so it's an enjoyable day. We don't have to worry about the weather and whatnot too much. So please do register. Don't close your laptop. Just make sure you go to omrun.cmsj.org. Take that 2 minutes, register today. You will not regret it. It will be the best day of your life. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sohamji. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Geetaji. Geetaji said you should register today. I would say you register today and register 3 more people in this week. Okay. Any other family that you know or any friends that you have. 3 is a very auspicious number in Vedanta also. How many avasthas are there? We say 3. How many times you say Shanti? 3. How many gunas are there? 3. So at least 3 families you reach out to, and you also register as soon as possible. A lot of other planning also needs to be done. If you have the count, it's easier to do. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari.